Welcome to the video. Today we're looking at the VK 7501K, the Tier 8 Premium German Heavy Tank with the rear mounted turret and the 490 alpha damage 128mm gun. This vehicle here I genuinely think is pretty interesting because it's effectively like the VKB with the stock turret, but actually has some decent armor on the turret, and just in general it does play quite a lot like the VKB. However, I think it has some more exploitable weaknesses because the lower front plate on this thing here is nowhere near as strong as the VKB's lower front plate. Also, this thing has some rough overmatch zones to say the least, because it has a 40mm section of DAC armor up here above the engine, and it also has a 40mm zone on the turret which can be overmatched. I think it's everywhere but this like triangular area here. Everywhere but that has a 40mm zone. And in case you're not familiar with overmatching, I'll just explain why that's bad. So if you have 40mm of armor on a zone, that means it's instantly overmatched whenever it's hit by a gun of 121mm or bigger. And what's the most popular type of gun in this game? Pretty much 122mm. If this armor had been 41 or like 40.8mm, this armor would be fine. But because it's 40mm exactly, it actually creates a lot of problems for this tank. And it means that if you come across someone who's actually aware and knows how to use that weakness against you, there's not really much you can do to stop them. Because if you try to hide the DAC armor weakness, you can expose your lower front plate. And if you try to hide your lower front plate, chances are you might end up exposing the DAC armor weakness. It's something which a lot of people don't know how to take advantage of, but it is actually a big weakness you can exploit if you're aware of it. And there's actually a lot of Russian vehicles you can exploit that weakness on as well. Like, I was actually fighting an IS-6 in this thing yesterday, and it was actually angling its ass armor up into the air a bit. I think it was trying to like make its lower front plate more troll for people to shoot at, but I just put shot after shot into its rear DAC armor. And it just meant that I was just able to continuously pen him, get free damage pretty much, because he wasn't able to retaliate, because he was kind of side-scraping around the corner. So it is something that can be exploited and can be used to your advantage if you know how, but I feel like most people aren't really aware of that weakness, or at least how to exploit that weakness. So this tank does also have some other problems. Like, it does have 5 degrees of gun depression, which isn't great. And it's also not the fastest tank in the world. As you can see, like, I mean, 30 kilometers an hour is not bad. Also, its part of weight ratio isn't horrific either. But it's not going to be moving around the map at really, really high speeds. Also, I think that guy's angled practically perfectly. That's kind of annoying, actually. Can I get a shot? Yep. Under armor. Nice. See, I feel like that guy unintentionally did that, but this is what I'm talking about. DAC armor and even under armor can be exploited if you know where roughly to shoot. I feel like that guy did that completely unintentionally. There's no way he did that intentionally. But that's where gun caliber can actually prove to be fairly useful. Can I get another one? Ah, I thought I was pushing my luck there going for that one. If that one worked as well, that guy practically would have been dead. There's an Indian Panzer up there. Is he going to expose himself? Probably not. Yeah, he did. Damn it, if I hadn't paid more attention to this Carnarvon, probably could have killed him. Okay, gun depression. Not going well here. So, one thing I did have wrong about this tank whenever I first got it was I thought this thing had more gun depression over the side than the front. Something which I think has turned out to be false. And that was a horrifically timed shot. Should have fired that like a couple seconds earlier. And the Indian Panzer unfortunately just died. Shit. This fight could be going better right now. That guy's got to be a real pain in the ass to deal with. He's at the range where the gun is going to struggle to hit him reliably. ISM still alive, Mil1 still alive. But this is going to be a tricky fight to deal with because I can't really fight the T-44 when I'm just going to get whacked by the 110. Actually, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to get a shot into you. take off a decent amount of your health. Did that? Who does just push forward? He did, I think. Yeah, he did. Okay, so I'm going to fall back, try and deal with this guy a little bit. And if we're able to deal with this guy, that will hopefully slow down their advance a little bit, but that guy's firing gold, kind of annoyingly. Also, his gun does have decent alpha damage, but I am able to overmatch practically his armor in its entirety. I mean, you can see I'm getting a green penetration marker whenever he's side-scraping. Really shows you how weak that thing's armor actually is. Now I could kill him with a HE round if I wanted. Yeah, now he's using his gun depression. Need to kill this guy sooner rather than later. This has been a really prolonged fight, but it's been an interesting one. Like, I feel like fights usually aren't as long as this, but it has been one where I've tried to be tactical where I could. Like, I didn't overexpose myself unnecessarily. That was exactly what I said I wasn't doing. I just exposed myself just completely unnecessarily and just took a bunch of damage for it. Yeah, that was pretty dumb. In hindsight, I don't know why exactly I just decided to roll around a corner sideways on in front of a 110. Especially, like, considering, well, he must have been using the 122. He must have been. Because I don't even think the 110's 100mm has heat rounds. I think it has APCR rounds. But I think overall that was a fairly interesting game. Probably could have been played better by me in some points. Like, the one thing I have learned with the Paris map in that area is if you try to be too aggressive too early on, you just get absolutely decimated. So there's no real point in trying to push too far forward too early on. But let's take a look at the results. First class mastery. That's the best result I've had so far in this tank. 1129 XP, not a very high damage game, but I think that was a fairly good game considering like the situation I was in.